Okay, so we've got our homepage done, and that's looking pretty good. Now it's time to move on to our photos page. So the photos page in a mobile view, it's going to be one column of photos, and it's going to be a 1 by 16 column. Now, as the screen gets wider, it becomes 2 columns with 8 photos in each. And then when we go to a full screen, it becomes 4 columns with 4 photos in each column. So 1 by 16, 2 by 8, 4 by 4. So let's see how we can make that happen. So the grid is going to be in between the header and the footer, like we did with our index page. And the first thing we need to do is on our photos HTML page, we're going to update that CSS. Instead of index CSS, it's going to be photos.css. So the general, the header, and the footer CSS files are going to be used by every page, but then each HTML page will also have its own unique CSS file specific to that area that goes in between the header and the footer. Now, for this grid, for this photo grid, we're going to use a bunch of divs. So divs are generic containers, and a div doesn't convey any meaning about its content. We're going to have a div with an ID row, and inside that div, we're going to have some other divs as well. So I'm going to have another div, and this div is going to be of the class column. And inside that div, I'm going to have an image, and my image is going to have a title. And I'm going to have 4 images in my column div. And I'm going to have 4 column divs. And that's the basic skeleton for my photo grid. So title text and alternative text is slightly different. Title text is when you hover the mouse over an image. So when I hover the mouse over, that little title text pops up. And for someone who can see the page, they can read that text. Alternative text has a couple of purposes. One is if the image does not load, the alternative text will be displayed instead of the image. Another purpose is if somebody has difficulty seeing the page, if they're vision impaired, that alternative text will be read to them. So we need to provide a path to our image, a title of our image, and some descriptive alternative text for the image. Now, as it turns out, I've done this previously, so I'm just going to paste in my code for those images. And it looks a little something like that. And as you can see, my alternative text is quite descriptive, but my title text, it's just the title of the image. And we could have responsive images, but for this example, I'm just going to stick with one size for each image. So we can check out how that is looking now. And at the moment, I've just got one column with 16 images. But that's the HTML taken care of. We'll look at the CSS shortly.